Well, hello and welcome to the DC United Kingdom podcast. This is season 3. I had to think about it there because it's been a while since we've done an episode and I'm not even looking at the camera, so apologies for that. I'll look at you now. There you are. And this is episode 15, and as always, I am your host, James Graham. As you see alongside me, and god damn it, I did the wrong way. Somewhere, one of these sides. If I looked at my computer screen, which has got the stream on, which is over this way, that way. Yes, it is over here. It is Daniel Wise. I'm speaking very quickly because I'm very nervous. How are you doing, Daniel? Welcome back. It's been a while.
It's been a while, but I want to say, as usual, I'm fine like wine.
Yeah.
And despite the fact that we've had an extended break away from the pod, I think especially for you, I think things definitely picked up personally on your end. And,
Yep.
I'm ready to get back here. It's really funny. As negative as I've been on this team this season, the most recent result we had was really surprising. But what was even more surprising is I felt really good coming into that match.
Yeah,
And
you were.
I gave you a shocking prediction on that.
Yeah, I was very, very surprised. I was like, oh, he's predicted a win. I was just like, oh,
Not just a win, but
not
a
just a win,
decisive
but-
win.
but yeah, more than one goal. I
Yes.
was genuinely shocked by it, but hey, what a surprise. But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But first things first, we're not talking about that. We're going to say, it's coming home.
It's coming home, baby.
Yes, it's coming home. To all you UK fans out there, especially you English folk, you'll have enjoyed Tuesday night as much as I did because, we're English. We finally beat the Germans. What an evening. Oh, Stu, eye contact. Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to the chat. How did you take the German defeat? And were you happy to see that German girl crying?
Well, and I had just mentioned this before we went live. I would hold off on it a bit because, man, you never know how karma is going to come back in that situation. And I, the worst parts of social media came out to play on that one. But overall, you have to feel really good about England. I think with the squad that they have now, this is quite possibly the best chance they can ever have.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I know of who's coming through in the youth ranks, but you just look at the squad they have, and it's incredible. So
Yeah.
The funny thing is about living in America during the Euros is that it's on during our work hours. So
Yes, it is.
I've been able to catch bits and pieces, but it's funny that this latest tournament is really playing out similarly to how the United States had their college basketball tournament. Upsets like crazy happening every other game, or in some cases just games not panning out the way a lot of analysts thought they would. I think Germany is just a huge surprise, and especially France as well. This has been a pretty wild tournament to follow sort of in the periphery, and to a degree that's pretty interesting because once I come off work, I turn on the Twitter feed and catch everyone's reactions, and it's been really interesting.
Honestly, Tuesday night I was a little bit merry before the game.
Right. Yeah.
But
you were giddy.
honestly, it was just something else just to see. And this is good timing by Stu with the comments in. Can we get Sir Jack of Grealish, Lord of Villa, added to the New Year's honours list already? Because, when he came on, he genuinely changed the way the game played. The fact that he is just someone who will go, but he will win you free kicks in the right places. But his vision, his passing, he is just absolutely top notch. I know a few people who have always thought he's not good enough to play for England. He plays for Aston Villa, but you know what? He's absolutely proved people wrong. And you can see the fans absolutely love him. I'm not a big fan of his haircut, but that's something else. I mean, yeah. Less said on that, the better. But then who am I to say? I mean, look at my hair. If you're not watching on YouTube or Twitter or Twitch, and you've not actually seen a picture of me, I've basically got no hair.
Well, so let me ask you this.
Go on.
For your preferences, you know, do you poo-poo Grealish's hair or Erling Haaland's fashion statement? Did you see that on Instagram the other day?
No, I did not.
He had this full-on flamingo, kind of a jumper, really.
Oh, no.
He's out at this pool. I assume kind of like at his mansion or some place, very, very fancy and nice. But he's got on. It's almost, if you're familiar with. If they're the US, I think they're USL, Forward Madison.
Oh, yes.
They have the full-on flamingo wild colors going on. He was channeling some huge Forward Madison energy in this picture. So at a certain point, if you can find that, it's worth a look.
Now you mentioned it's Forward Madison. I'm kind of into that because I do like the Forward Madison jerseys. I know you've seen their recent one, the reversible one.
Oh no!
Oh, you need to get onto that. So they've recently their brand new one. Mm-hmm. It's a 2-for-1. It's fantastic. What's not to like? You can get one side dirty, let it dry out. Obviously, you don't want to switch it inside out when it's still a bit moist. But you can. It's a 2-for-1 jersey. It's reversible. It's fantastic, and it's well worth a look. So go and check that out.
For sure.
Stu again is just coming up saying, "Great to see England win. Not as fun as the famous 5-1, which even saw Heskey, yes, Emil Heskey, who he's nicknamed the English Ola Kamara, score. But he's going to allow himself to get a little bit excited, and I'm going to allow myself to get a bit excited too. So, we've also had a comment over on Twitter from Austin FC UK. Welcome to the show, a fellow Northerner. We've chatted a few times over on Twitter, so welcome to the stream. Glad to see you're here. If you've got any questions for the podcast, then that goes for anyone, feel free to drop them in the comments. We will answer them live on the show. So, shall we kick off with a score prediction league update?
Yes, let's go for it.
It's going to be short and sweet because I'm losing. I'm on 3 points. I haven't moved anywhere. I've got predictions wrong. Dan, you're on 5 points. You got an extra point for your prediction of the draw against Montreal.
Yes.
So fair play on that one.
I hated making that prediction and did not enjoy the result, but no. I guess anything to keep me on top, I guess.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I don't want that Spurs jersey.
You do. Come on. You want that jersey. You want that more than I want the Red Bull jersey. Come on.
As you know what, it'll be more bearable if it's a Sun. Because that man is a treasure and I respect him.
I mean, Son is a great player. He's a great person.
Yeah. Excuse me for a second.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest.
We have a special guest. Please hold.
So, whilst Daniel's sorting out the special guest there.
My apologies for that one.
That's absolutely fine.
Canine co-host here.
Oh, well, the more the merrier. That's what I say.
Yeah.
So the score predictions, I'm not doing very well. I mean, I looked at it this earlier on, and I looked at what my predictions were, and I'm 100% predicting wins. I don't think that's going to change, to be honest, but, at some point, I'm going to get one scoreline correct, and I'm going to win those 3 points.
And that's what this season is coming down to. I am awful when it comes to predictions. But I want to say that, I think whoever gets 3-point wins here and there will definitely start commanding, I think, a sizable lead at some point here. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's exciting on the DC UK pod front here, and I'm eager to see what happens.
I know it's honestly. Well, I'll get there. I'll get more than 3 points at some point this season, and I think I'm going to get it this weekend because we're playing Toronto, and we'll come on to that at the end of the show. Some news that's happened because it has been a few weeks. I mean, I'm only looking at the last week Mainly because, well, I've had a couple of shows on. If you've not seen, go and check them out. I had Brendan Heinzike and Steve Birnbaum, so two of our centre backs. Some great content there for you to go and see. Me and Brendan, we had a good chat about babies, golf, and cooking.
For sure.
I mean, what more do you want from a soccer podcast? Nothing about soccer, everything else. And then Steve Birnbaum, what a legend he was for coming on. And we talked about him. Will he ever score a long range effort like Brendan did? He says no. He's not expecting him to do that. He's not going to venture that far up the pitch. But hopefully we'll see him back in the black and red soon and on that pitch, because he's a great player, and what an absolute amazing person he is as well.
I think the best way you can approach your defensive position is to adopt the David Luiz mindset that no matter where you are on the field, you are a striker.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Right, news. We will get there eventually. First bit of news, which has obviously come out today, that I've got on the list. Donovan Pines has made the Gold Cup roster, or as we say over here, the Gold Cup squad. Absolute great news. I'm actually surprised he made it. I didn't think this was the time for him, but obviously Greg Berhalter has seen something in him that he thinks deserves a place in that team. So, what did you make of that, Daniel, when you saw that news?
It's fantastic. He's a young player. He's very athletic. I want to say that like he is a guy who comes in, and I think really takes a mental part of the game. Yeah. And so I think with that, along with his physical ability, he's going to be a good fit for the team. Like you said, very surprising, but I think totally deserved. He is just a standout on the defensive side, and I think I'm going to enjoy seeing him play together with his fellow Americans.
Yes, and I've seen that he's been given the number 4 jersey.
Okay.
So whether that means, I mean, squad numbers, they don't really mean that much these days, but 4 generally means a starting True. Lineup. So he could be in there. Pines for president. We've just had a comment come in.
Yep.
Yeah, why not? I mean, his dad's the president of which university is it? Remind me.
Maryland.
Maryland. There you go.
Yep.
So we do have a Pines president in our midst. So there you go. Next bit of news on there, which I didn't want to really have written down, but when back earlier on in the season, I obviously had Hernan Losada on the show, and one of the big things that came out of there when I did my little research on him was the fact that he's never had a game which is finished as a head coach 0-0.
Yeah.
Until Montreal came along and decided to allow us to have a 0-0 draw. I mean, that game was just frustrating, I think is the word I want to use.
It was cagey, but I want to say that it wasn't. I think it was a little bit different from the other matches we've had. It was fairly straightforward. It was a fairly uneventful match, but yeah, I don't know. You're gonna, like I've always said, you're gonna see it this season. Teams are gonna sit back, and DC is gonna have to find a way to get past them. But with our main man here, Mr. BNE, Big Nige Energy.
Oh yes,
that we'll get to in a little bit. I don't know. We need to find some consistency with our strikers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I want I had a friend text me the other day. After Kamara scored his goals, and he's like, "Are you Mr. 5,000% still done with Kamara?" And to be honest, yeah, that's still the place because I need to see consistency. I need to see at least 13 more goals from him this season before I can well and truly eat my words. And I just still don't think that's the answer. But this team's they're still striving. and they want to get those wins. They believe they can
Yeah.
get these wins. And to be honest, they took New York to the ropes. So I want to say
Is
this
it
team.
New York? Did you say? I thought it was New Jersey.
True. The fake New York.
Yes.
They took them there. They went the distance, and it's just one of those things where the team just sort of ran out of gas. But not to get too far ahead, if we want to kind of keep going through with that Montreal game.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I thought we deserved to get something out of it because the way we attacked was great. It was
Yeah.
just the fact that we just didn't have that cutting edge. I mean, when you say that, do we deserve to win it then? No. The only way you deserve to win a game is by putting the ball in the back of the net. It's as simple as that.
For sure.
But you're right. We need a consistent striker up top who's, at the very worst, is going to get a goal every other game. For me, I'd be happy with a goal every other game as long as other people are pitching in. And yeah, Ola Kamara. After those 3 goals that he scored recently, I was like, okay, we might have turned a corner with him. I think with the play that we're doing, the way he's getting in behind the defence, not getting offside, I thought, you know what, this is it. This is actually going to be Ola's season. No. I mean, the other bit that frustrated me with the Montreal game, obviously, it was a midweek game. It was late night, so I was up. Only had a little bit of sleep, so I was really crap for work the next day. But it's the fact that it was a midweek game. Montreal had over a month off. We got to remember, so they had a huge amount of rest. We had a game 3 days beforehand, so we were obviously going to be a little bit tired from that. But not only that, it was down in Florida, not up in the cool climate of Canada.
Right.
Well, it's not actually cool up there at the moment, from what I've seen in the news. But it's just like, how can you schedule a game between 2 sides, who one is on a game of 3 games in 8 days, versus a team who hasn't played a game in a month? How is that fair?
That's Donnie G's MLS. This has always been the case.
Honestly, it baffles me, the scheduling within MLS, just generally speaking. And I'm not just saying that from a DC United point of view. I'm saying that for any team in the league they will at some point go through this kind of thing. Yeah. And it's just like,
but not only that, but you had the back-to-back games with Inter Miami. So
yes.
Yeah.
What? It's just, I mean, granted, we got 2. Did we get 2 wins? Did we beat Miami the second time?
We did, yes.
Yes, yeah. We got back-to-back wins. I mean, that's awesome. But you shouldn't play the same team twice in the league. A cup. Yes, fine. In the league, followed by the cup. That happens. But in the league,
yeah,
someone's gone, we're missing a fixture here. Nah, just whack it in there. Just throw it in blindly.
If you remember, coming up on like March and April, they only had like the first like maybe 5 match days actually scheduled.
Yeah.
For this season. So really, I mean, on MLS's terms, it's been very flying by the seat of their pants. So it's been a messy year. And on top of that, just DC taking on a new system and handling the injury situation that they've had.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm delighted by the fact that like they are in the position that they're at, very comfortably mid-table, and having times where they're showing flashes that they can be a winning team, but it's got to take more than beating an objectively awful Inter Miami.
Yeah.
You can brag about winning, but if you're doing it at the senior center, which that squad is a squad of geriatrics,
smoking a cigarette on the sidelines.
Yes, this is yes, those are games we need to win, and should win. But yeah, it's got to be more than that.
Yeah, it's we need to find, and Stu's just agreeing with the frontman situation. A consistent frontman is a must. After the New York game, which we will go on to very soon, he's just asking more game time for Roberta should be on the card, surely. And for me, if he doesn't start this weekend against Toronto, I am going to be incredibly annoyed.
Yeah, and what does that say? Where we are, essentially, kind of I guess, or at least we're sort of thinking, put Nigel in, where I don't know what his price tag is. It's not nearly sky high, but
No.
when you're talking about putting a player who's $8 million on the bench.
Mm.
And not necessarily saying that in a way that like this is a team where like we're talking, we have many other players ahead of him on that type of payroll, but this has to be a wake up call for Kamara, and he's got to be able to get out there and get results, especially against Montreal, because it was woeful. To be honest, I felt more deflated after that game than I did at the end of the New Jersey game.
Yeah,
frankly,
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I would absolutely agree with that. Yeah. Should we move on to the next bit of news?
For sure.
Yeah, which is unfortunately the sad news of Big Rob unfortunately passing away after his long battle with his cancer that he's had. I did put out a tweet shortly after, so if you want to check that out, please do. But he's a true club legend, been there right from the very beginning. So I just want to take a moment just to remember him for all the good that he's done for the club. And there is a GoFundMe page that you can donate to, and I want to honour him in any way possible. So if it means donating to the GoFundMe page, then so be it. I have myself personally have done a donation to it. There is a link in the description, so if you want to honour one of the greatest fans of this football club, go click that GoFundMe page. Doesn't matter how much you donate, just every little bit helps for his son, Marco. So please go and do that. Have you got any words that you want to say or add, Daniel?
I'm frankly not super familiar, but obviously with that, I think this is a time for the supporters to rally and really show that we all support one another. So any little bit is going to be very helpful, especially when you're talking about having a son and losing your dad. That's tough. And then having to deal with everything around that. I think having that financial boost, as well as the sort of I guess well wishes from the supporters to show that this community is close and together. I think that'll be really special.
Yeah, absolutely. Notice there's been so many donations going through to it, so please do add your name to the list. You don't have to have your name listed on there if you don't want to be known. You can do it anonymously. So please do go and donate. It'll mean a hell of a lot to his family and all of his friends. So there is that. Sorry, I'm just it's horrible. You see the passion that he gave for battling that cancer, the passion he had for the club.
Yeah,
I would love to see the club do something for him. I mean, you see clubs around the world when they've had some legends, they'd like name the stands after them. I'm not saying we do that for Big Rob, but I mean that would be absolutely imagine that, having a Big Rob stand at Audi Field. I think that would be a great way to honour him. So, but yeah, go and do the GoFundMe page. Go on there, donate whatever it is you can. Let's help us out any way we possibly can. Right, let's move on to a fan question that we have sent in from a DC UK member. So If you do want to come and join us at DC UK, do head to dclightKingdom.com/membership. It is completely free to do so. The link is in the description. But Brian, bless him, not Brian Blessed, who is a loud man over from the UK, Brian from DC UK, he's asked, what is more fulfilling as a football supporter? Your club team or your national team winning silverware? Now, I don't know what a national team does to win silverware. So, Daniel, I'm going to ask you, how does it feel for a national team to win silverware?
You know, I think, for a lot of Americans, it is a go big or go home type of thing. Generally, when you're talking about soccer, the vast majority of people here, they don't even know what the Gold Cup is, let alone what did we just win against?
It's the Nations League.
The Nations League.
Yeah.
That's the legendary, long-standing Nations League. To be honest, though, that game against Mexico was an absolute banger, and I had my girlfriend watch with me, and she was like, I think I like soccer now, and I'm like, yeah, right.
What a game!
It was fan-freaking-tastic, and especially coming down to pens, I thought it was just magnificent. And especially, with Pulisic and when he stepped up to score that tying goal, you saw the way the Mexico players put the divot in, right next to the ball, and then him just coming in, cool as he like, taking that shot was fantastic. So was a great game. But a lot of people are just like, when's the World Cup? And then is the United States in? And we're not going to win because we're the United States. So I mean, to a degree, if that ever becomes a reality, I think it will be very awesome as American outlaw supporters. I think for us who are in it, each especially with the Gold Cup, each win is a great feeling. But us too, we're always looking, okay, where does this take us from here? And we also have our sights set on the World Cup, because that's, in a way,
you've got to go big. You've got to aim for the very top, because why else are you there?
Well, and that's the other thing is, like, unless they win that, I think the wider culture just won't necessarily pay it any mind, because, that's the true sort of, and once America wins the World Cup, it'll be one of those things where, like, America's won the World Cup and we're the best for all time, always, because that's who we are as a people. And we will claim that as ours for the rest of time.
You will. Absolutely. There was something, I think it was, I can't remember who said it. I mean, it was either a friend or a famous person. Someone out there in the world said it. Yeah. But the reason, if America puts their mind to soccer, they will win the World Cup.
Absolutely. Now, to be fair, I am talking about the men's side. On the women's side, that's fantastic. Seeing them, win the World Cup, and especially with the Olympics coming up, if they can get that gold medal, that'll be fantastic. And just seeing the greatness that they have, winning multiple back-to-back World Cups, is just
kind of
incredible.
Annoying.
I'm very sure, especially with Alex Morgan giving you the pinky. That is, and that's where we had our German girl moment.
Yes,
seeing all of the British press lose their minds about those arrogant Americans, and that was the greatest. And truly, anytime we can dunk on the English, us damn colonists, we just lap that up every single time. It's why you have, even today, like, t-shirts and ball caps saying, USA, two-time World War champions. And so,
wow.
wow. And that's the thing. I mean, that's where we take it. I mean, it is it is brash, it is irreverent, and it is just that's America, and love it or hate it. I mean, that's just like what the American culture is
It
to a
is.
lot of people.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to quickly revert back to the chat over here.
Yeah.
Rithik, who is a long-time listener and now is a watcher over on YouTube, has just come out and said the game against Mexico, like you were talking about just there, reignited their passion for the national team. Absolutely. I mean, I think it's the greatest US game I've seen. Right up there.
Very good, yeah.
Yeah. But then he's gone on to say, but honestly, I'd rather see DC United win MLS Cup again than the US men's national team winning the Gold Cup.
Yes, and to a degree, I think if I would want to, if DC United gets to the final, I would love to get to that game. However, I can pull that off.
Yes.
And if they win, that would be incredible. Because here's the thing, admittedly, I'm a late comer to DC United, so like I was never part of the 2004, remembering that whole period, but. Yeah. As I've said before, I was on a different podcast where we did a series on recapping each year they won the championship, and that was just really interesting to go back and look at those squads. So if being able to live through that and then be able to sort of keep a chronicle of that would be really special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I do. I want to see the US men's national team do well.
Yeah.
If I was to have dual nationality, American would be it. So I'll take adopted American. It's fine. I'll allow it. But I would want to see DC United win the MLS Cup rather than US men's national team winning the Gold Cup. However, I would love to see England win a trophy at some point in my life. That would be nice. I don't know. It's been what? Maths 55 years since we've won the World Cup, which is a very long time, admittedly, but Euro 2020, even though it's 2021, it's coming on. It's got to come on. There's only so many times we can say it before it comes true, so this is the year. Barithik has gone and say, if the US plays England at the 2026 World Cup, that would be lit. Absolutely.
Yes.
Imagine a World Cup final of USA versus England.
I mean, that's where it would.
That's a fantasy right there.
That would be incredible, and especially just when you're talking about the history between the United States and England, it would be fantastic. But what would be even better is if somehow we discover some sort of player with like a dual French and US citizenship who turns out to be like a star or something like that, and then comes along and absolutely saves the day for the United States in that hypothetical final. That would be poetry in a way. It's like Hamilton on the pitch.
Oh dear. Anyway, let's move on. I mean, the last comment in that section was Stu just going, the pinky celebration was amazing. Proper celebration. Yes. Stu, you're English. You're not supposed to say that. We'll have words later. Right, let's have a quick recap of the game against New York City FC, or New Jersey City FC, as we're going to adopt their new name. So obviously we got beat 2-1. Frustratingly beaten 2-1, especially when we had that opportunity. Paul just had to put it either side of the keeper, and it would have been 2 on us, but anyhow. So Keaton Park scored in the 84th minute, and Thiago got that 95th minute winner, even though it was only 4 minutes of added time, but there we go. I'm not going to say anything. Big Nige, scored our goal in the 9th minute. In terms of the stats, on paper, it was 64 to 36% possession in favour of New Jersey. Shots 14-8, so we were outshot for the first time in a very long time. On target 7-4. Passing accuracy, one of our worst for the season. 79% for the boys in blue and 64% for us. Fouls 9-16, no surprise there really. And then expected goals 1.7 to 1. So expected goals wasn't in our favour either. So was the results and scoreline fair? Yeah. I mean, we were so outplayed in that second half. First half, yeah, I would say we deserved that lead. But that second half, I don't know what the heck. Tired legs, do you reckon?
Tired legs, probably a lot of mental fatigue.
Yeah.
This is a team that has had to fight tooth and nail nearly every single game. And honestly, just to get a goal.
Yeah.
And
just a goal. Just not 3 or 4, just 1.
That's very much the really frustrating part of this is that they've had a really rough go, just kind of doing just the general attacking part of the game. And that's just something that at a certain point, this team will figure it out. There was so DC United had a press conference today, and you had Losada, Heinzike, and Gressel given their thoughts on sort of recent happenings. And fact is, I think what you're seeing is that this team is really rallying around each other. I think as much as we kind of like get down on them on this podcasting side of things, I think they are really all trying to support each other. Even in, kind of like those rough spells, they are a team that they got to keep that belief going. And that's what's going to keep them going this season. It's going to be long. And once we get into those deep summer games, that is when this team is going to be really tested. And I think to a degree that's, they will be conditioned at that point.
Yes, they'll have gone through so many games and they will start to get used to the level that they need to play at. I just want to put onto the game is the fact that we made 6 changes to our lineup as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, we would have had tired legs because of the travel, the mental fatigue, as you rightly mentioned there. But the fact that we had made 6 changes, 2 of our defenders went out injured in that game as well. Briant and Heinz Ike went off injured. A 2-1 doesn't, when you look at that side of the fence, doesn't seem too bad.
Not terrible.
No. I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
And like I said, you kind of look at it objectively, like on paper, we did get outplayed.
Yeah.
But I would argue in that sense, as tired as this team was, they held on to like the very end, and it really took some incredible effort from New York to get those 2 goals. And so everything kind of like looking at that and kind of the way DC held on as much as they could. Like I said, I am less deflated after that game than the Montreal game where, especially, and I think that it stems mostly from how I feel about Kamara, because he had a couple really good chances. And even one that came kind of awkwardly off his chest, you gotta figure something out. And because as much money as he's on, you can't be playing like that. You gotta be in the spot. You gotta
ready
have
for anything,
and you gotta be ready. Yeah, there was a beautiful cross, and I said, this was
from
a
Gressel.
typical German cross, that deep from the midfield, high arcing cross was fantastic, and he whiffed it like a Pee Wee League player. It was incredible.
I mean, for those over here on this side of the pond, Pee Wee League. I mean, I've heard of it, but is that like toddler level?
Well, yeah, a little bit. It's like adolescent. It's, you're 6 to 8 years old, not
Okay.
exactly up to that, organized I
Yeah.
don't know. Do you have a term like, how you have primary school?
Yeah. I
That
mean, primary school is that's the age then. So
Yeah.
Pee Wee's primary.
Yes.
Fair. There we go. We've explained. We've learned something new on today's show.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that came out in that press conference then?
You know, so so the team is coming into this Toronto game feeling really confident. Toronto's going through some changes, but they're an experienced squad.
Yeah.
They're laying pretty low on the table on the eastern side. So, this is a game where if this team wants to redeem itself, get some of that confidence back, this is the game to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that was going into that New York game. New York's a good team,
Yeah.
but they have showed inconsistencies, and especially against poor teams. I thought that DC sort of being up a level from poor would be able to do something, and that's why I did go into that game thinking a 2-0 win was very possible.
Yeah.
So yeah, so at the same time, we very well could have come away with a win. I sort of allude to that scene in Fast and the Furious where Brian is like, I almost had you, and then Dominic is all like, winning's winning, that whole thing. Obviously, yeah, New York pulled out a very ugly win there, but again, don't feel super deflated after that one.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, let's have a look at the table very quickly right now. So
Yeah.
we're currently in 8th place. Now, at the start of the season, if you ask me, we were just sitting outside of the playoffs a third of the way through the season. I would have snapped your hands off, to be honest. I genuinely would have thought we would be 11th, 12th, 13th right now.
Yeah.
That's how I would have seen us. I would have expected us to be just getting battered every game, really. High scoring games, but getting defeated pretty much every game. Yeah. However, we're sat there with 13 points, so not a huge return at the moment, but enough to keep us in and around the playoff area.
Yeah.
With 4 wins, 1 draw. We've only scored 10 goals, so we're not scoring a goal a game just yet.
No.
But I'm relatively pleased with that. I think we're doing okay. I don't know. Are you happy with how we've started this season off?
Happy is not necessarily the word. I think
Content?
well, and that was another thing is I think Losada in that interview had pointed out that or no, it was Gressel. Teams that are good are always wanting more, and even winning championships, they want to look forward to the next thing. And I think that's the type of belief system that Losada is trying to instill with this team, is eliminating any form of complacency or contentment with things. He's always pushing the team. I would say my, expectations that were very pre-tempered at the start of this season are they're met in a way. And again, we're talking about wins against teams that, can and should be beat. But once we get to those deep lying dog day games in the summer, that is
sweat boxes
is going to be truly tested. And especially when we start playing, those more, I guess, top of the table teams, it's going to be tough. I think after Toronto, we're going to be taking on a tough Philadelphia. It's actually almost kind of like a reverse from the beginning of the season, because we have Philadelphia, Chicago, and then New Jersey Red Bulls.
Okay.
Followed by Cincinnati, and then Columbus is also going to be a really tough game. I would almost kind of toss up and say Philadelphia and Columbus will likely be a wash, probably New York as well. If we can get maybe 3 points combined from those matches,
Yeah. Huh?
that would be my expectations being met. I wouldn't necessarily I would not predict wins in those. But you look at Cincinnati and Chicago Fire, beatable teams,
Oh,
and if we can come away,
I tell
on
you
the
what.
plus side in those matches.
Since you're on form at the moment,
True.
they're doing
True.
all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you saw Lucho's goal,
I completely missed that.
oh, I
Yeah.
mean, he scored an absolute peach from
Okay.
about 20 yards out. He's dinked it around one player, and then just off the inside of his foot, he's just curled it into the far corner. It's just like, I want that Lucho back.
I did see some chatter about him
Yeah.
on Twitter, and yeah, good for him. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
former
I mean,
former DC United man. Unfortunate with the way things shook out with him, but
Yeah.
good that he's at least found some joy elsewhere.
yeah, absolutely. So let's have a little look ahead to the Toronto game. So kickoff is on Saturday, same day as when England bring it closer to home. It is a 10:38 p.m. kickoff over here on this side of the pond, so hopefully it doesn't go to extra time.
Yeah.
Because if it goes to extra time, I might miss the start of the game. So we'll see what happens this weekend. Over on the East Coast, it is a 5:38 p.m. kickoff. And for you, Daniel, that'll be a 4:38 p.m. kickoff,
Yes.
won't it? Yes. So not a bad time for a Saturday, that.
No, but I think kind of terrible timing. I will be probably at a funeral.
Oh.
I think at that time. Unfortunately, but I will try and get as much of a recap on that as I can.
Yes.
But there is some light kind of at the end of that 90 minutes, I think.
Yes.
Toronto has had a really tough time, and at this point of the season, they are only sitting on 5 points.
Yeah.
Even with Chicago. So this is a game to find some joy.
Yeah. There was a stat that when I was looking at doing the preview stuff for this.
Yeah.
There's not been a time since the shootout era of MLS that there's been two teams on 5 points after 10 games.
Yeah.
So that's 21 years that there's never been two teams that's bad, which says something.
Yes. And it's shocking considering the fact that this is a Toronto team that just last year was very good.
Yeah.
And just narrowly missing out or missing the cup. So this is shocking to see them in this state.
But this is MLS. This is what happens in Major League Soccer. So this is why we love this league. Let's have a quick look at their current season record.
Yeah.
They have played 10 games, so they've played one less than us so far. But they've only won one game. They've drawn 2, and they've lost 7. But they have scored 12 goals, but their defense is where it's really, really bad. They've conceded 20 goals so far this season, so not great. Their away record, because they are on the road to DC. They've not won at all. They've lost 5 and they've drawn 1. They're on a current 5-game losing streak. They've lost 11 out of the last 15. Prior to that, they'd only lost 10 in the last 48 games. So it just goes to show that they can do it. But at the moment, they're not on form. This is a great time to play.
Yeah.
When we look at head-to-head wise, it's very even across the board. We've both won 8 times each, and we've drawn 9 times. So it's incredibly close. And then 7 out of the last 8 games have been ties. After 90 minutes, that is. Granted, we won in 2018 against them at Audi Field. Audi Field? Yes, it was at Audi Field. I think Rooney scored that peach of a free kick.
Yes.
And then, but the other game which didn't end in a draw after extra time, though, was the game in the playoffs, where we won't talk about that one. So that's how it stands at the moment. I'm confident for this weekend. I think as long as we have Big Nige starting, because that goal he scored against New York, which we've actually missed. How did we miss that? That goal, he broke the net.
Yeah.
He may as well have just gone, there's not net there. Let's just power straight through it. Because that was just something else. I was just like, I did have to do a double take just to, we actually scored. What?
I'd say if you can't score with the England squad, you gotta channel that energy somehow.
Yes.
And I think that's what he was doing with that rocket. He was aiming across the pond.
He was aiming for us. But that pass,
and he said, "Bring it home, boys."
So, if England doesn't bring it home, I'm going to bring it home for you. But that pass from Moses.
Yeah.
Oh.
This team and you know, it's tough to talk about potential because it can go either way.
Yeah.
But the youngsters that we have right now are going to be really special in the years to come, and it's really exciting to see them play right now.
Really is. I mean, Moses for me is definitely the most exciting to see because of the amount of potential he has.
Yeah.
And last year he was named in the Guardian's, the newspaper over here, in the top 50 hot prospects in the world.
Yeah.
The only American in that list. So that says something about his potential and his quality that he already has.
Yeah.
But when you look at the likes of Kevin, who's got that little bit of flair about him, Griffin, who's just consistently hitting down that right side, and he's come on leaps and bounds over the last 2 seasons. You've got Donny Pines, who's now in the US men's national team.
Yeah.
It's just, it's
and
awesome.
To a degree, that's what separates, Donnie and Nigel kind of from the other youngsters, is that not only do they bring the physical component, but they have just such a sharp mental game. That is the one thing I would say about Kevin, is that when it comes to his decision making, it's either not quick enough or it's too quick, and he just needs to find. He needs experience just to find those moments that he can really thrive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. With more experience, that's where it will come from. I think we've talked about it so many times this season, that this is a transitional season, not just for the team, but for a lot of the players as well as individuals.
Yeah.
And you're right with Kevin. This is the first season he's played in front of crowds. Let's remember that. He's never actually played in front of a crowd before, so he's got to get used to that. That's where his decision making has been really tested, because he's going to be pumped from having the crowds behind him. He's probably going to make some rash decisions, so we just got to patience.
Yep.
I just think Moses has such a cool head on him.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem fazed by anything. Doesn't matter who he's up against, or what he's got in front of him, or what he's got to do. He just gets a job done, and I like that about him. I think he's a great little player.
And that's very much the thing, is like, he doesn't have the stature of, say a full grown adult, but he, like you said, he carries himself in a way, or you kind of look at him, you look him in the face when he enters the field, and to a degree, it's like he knows he belongs there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really let anything faze him. And that's going to be just a really key element of his game going into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more comments have just been coming in. So saying Big Bill at one end, Big Nige at the other, with Moses splitting defences. More, please. Yes, absolutely. And then obviously Big Donny as well. Just more big, I guess, is where I'm going here.
Yeah.
Love that. We do. Big players.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need big in terms of
Kevin's big hair.
Kevin's big
and
hair.
That's how he rounds it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Kev hair. Who else have we got?
As a man who's got big hair, who's got the
Don't
flow.
rub it in. Don't rub it in. Just
I
share,
you know,
mail some over to me.
game recognized game.
No way, no way. Well, I'll go back to golf chat with Brendan and Jules.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But
Oh
no,
right,
yeah, this is a team, and like I've said, the potential is there. The moves have to be made.
yeah.
You know, DC, please bring in Messi.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, we've got what Donnarumma. He's a free agent.
Yes.
Lionel Messi, free agent. Who else is free agent?
Costa, as far as I know, is still.
Flip a neck.
I mean,
Who else
man,
is a free agent at the moment?
open up that purse.
Oh, honestly, I mean, is Mesut Ozil a free agent again?
I have no idea. No, I believe he got picked up in Turkey. So.
Oh yes, he did. Yes, that's
he's
right.
playing one of those.
Fenerbahce.
I want to say yes.
Yeah, that's it. It rings a bell actually. That now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just trying to find out who's free agent at the moment. But I mean, whilst I'm looking for that, you've got Jadon Sancho now moving to Man United.
Big news. That's a huge one right there.
Yes, Rafael Benitez going to Everton.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's a huge one. Just recently, Fulham have appointed Marco Silva as their new boss.
And
4 hours ago.
Ramos to PSG.
Is that confirmed, or is that?
As far as I know, his brother was in Paris finalizing the deal, so that looks lock stock.
Yes, indeed. Juan Mata is a free agent.
Yeah.
Nah, that wouldn't happen. Just no. Nuno Espirito Santos is now Spurs boss. Someone eventually had to take it. I mean, every man and his dog was offered that job. Jesus, flipping heck, that was the merry-go-round. I mean, I'm surprised that I didn't get offered the job. I'm a little bit disappointed. I should be insulted at that.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, yes, there's a few free agents. Let us know if you want Messi. I mean, who wouldn't want Messi? Diego Costa, Stu's just said, might take a cigarette and be his break with Higuain. I can see that happening. Yes. Yeah, that would happen. Right, predictions. It's time for Toronto predictions. I mean, I think we're both going for a win, aren't we?
I've been bouncing a couple of scores in my head, and I want to hear yours first before I make my call, or should we say at the same time?
I mean, it's gonna be a bit awkward on the audio, so we'll take it in turns.
Okay.
We'll take it in turns. Right. I've not really decided yet, so I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it. So so Toronto have conceded 20 goals so far this season. So they've conceded 2 per game on average. When you look at how many attempts on goal we usually have, some have got to hit target, which surely means some, not just some must go in the net.
Yes.
Toronto have scored 12. So they're scoring an average of 1.2 a game. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win.
Okay. Wow. Well,
yeah.
With that, and I've been saying this from the start, and I am kind of a system guy. To a degree, I think that is the big thing that just carries teams over the edge. And I think, had this been another year of Benny Ball, we'd be in a very different position right now.
Oh, God, yes. We'd be bottom.
And so I want to say there's going to be... I want to say that Losada is going to just absolutely flood that box any chance he gets.
Yeah.
And I want to say that this team can keep a clean sheet. And I'm going to say if we have that big Nige energy coming into this, I'm going to say 4-0.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That is something. That's a bold prediction.
I want to say that this is a team that, if they really want to make a statement now, and if they want to, say, hey, this season's going to turn ahead at a certain point.
Yeah.
This is the game to do it. This is a game to, take a very beatable team and absolutely pad the stats a bit, I guess, to make it
Yes.
make it
Get our goal difference into the positive.
yes, exactly. So that is where I see this team going.
Yeah. I like that. I like the bold predictions. I like the positivity. We've had a prediction come through on the chat from
Okay.
Stu. He says 2-0 to DC.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I'd be happy. I'd be happy with wins. I mean, I want to be entertained, obviously, but I will take a win. And 2-0 would be a good game. 3-1, plenty of goals. There's 4 goals, but a 4-0 win. Oh.
Well,
I would not say no to that.
I think we can see it. And I don't know. This is the game that will ultimately sort of direct how I feel about DC United going forward into this season. If it's another, sort of like 1-0, even if it's a win for us, I'm not exactly gonna come away happy or impressed with that.
Okay.
When you have a wounded animal. And just to kind of bring a little Midwest, flavor into this, we typically, we go pheasant hunting, and when there's a wounded, rooster in the field, you get in there and you can't be afraid of it. You got to, grab that pheasant by the neck, and you got to just wrangle that thing around. You have to kill it. If you see a wounded animal, you have to get it done quick.
Yeah.
You have to kill it and make sure the job is done. You don't just pick it up and let it keep flopping around. You gotta put it down. And so this is Toronto, an injured pheasant in the field, and DC United. If they have that killer instinct, they will go in there and they will strangle that pheasant. So that's what I want them to do. This is the only result that will make me happy with this team this week. Yeah.
Fair enough. Right, shall we?
Getting real graphic.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't know I don't know how to move on from that. Apart from just saying, shall we wrap things up?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Daniel, once again, thank you for joining me this evening on this show.
Yeah.
Let the good folks out there know where they can find you.
You know what? Find me on Twitter and Instagram at SDakotaSoccer. And yeah, just I'm always eager to talk shop. Anyone who has friends who are trying to get into the game, I always try to take an approachable, sort of attitude with it. And so anyone who's curious about the game, just in general, and wants to learn how to watch soccer instead of just seeing all the players on the field, like how to, recognize the patterns of the flow of the game. That's where I really try to, get people into it.
Yeah, absolutely. So go and follow Daniel on his socials. For me, if you're here, thank you very much. If you're not actually subscribing, please hit that little bell, that little thumbs up for the like, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to be notified of future shows. If you're looking down in the description, you'll see little things around merchandise like this amazing little t-shirt or this amazing flag. Go and hit that link and get yourself some absolutely awesome merch. It does go towards helping the show, so helping me create all this amazing content for you guys out there, and also helps fund things like the website, costs for actually making the show as well. If you want to become a member, just hit the membership link. Daniel is a member of DC UK, along with Brian, who sent in a little question. I had to think about that one there. But also you guys in the chat there. I know Stu is obviously a member as well, so please come and join us. We do have a private Twitter group for all the chat between all of us members. So do come and join us. But that's it from me. Come and follow me on Twitter at DC United Kingdom, Facebook and Instagram, it's at DC United Kingdom FC. But until next time, I'm going to look at the camera for this one. Vamos United.
And before we truly go,
okay.
As I tweeted earlier, this is a great group, the DC United Kingdom supporter group. unofficial supporter group, but DC, please talk to James about that.
Yes, that would be nice.
As I've said, this is the type of thing where you come for the chips and you stay for the biscuits.
Oh,
Because
yes.
the conversation is fantastic. It's free flowing. Everyone's super friendly with each other, and it's just a fantastic group. So,
No animosity at all. No animosity. And yes, that's why. And yes, come for the chips. We'll put plenty of salt on them. But do stay for the biscuits because, we do like our rich tea digestives. Rich teas, milk chocolate digestives, pink wafers. Pink wafers. How can you say no to pink wafers? Come on.
come to the group and bring it home with us.
Yes, absolutely. So let's end it right there. I'm going to look at the camera once more and just say the final two words. Vamos United.